Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. INFOMEDIA is with us now, not just anybody. Pete Petrovski is with us. He is the Chief Strategy Officer at INFOMEDIA, overseeing a number of brands and making big headwaves in the automotive industry. Pete, welcome to the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Hello, Ted. Good to be with you.
Great to have you here in person, if I may. And we've seen a lot on InfoMedia, and especially in the last year. And Pete, you're squarely in this industry with retail, with service, parts, e-commerce, and I love the strides that you're making with AI for our dealer body. So congratulations to you on all the success you're having.
Thank you, Ted. Thank you. It's a lot of strong activity. The market in terms of after-sale solutions and what the dealers need, the complexity, the macro environment, it's all very much a complex area to be in at the moment. The automakers are doing it tough with their vehicle sales, and the parts and service side is really now a focus for the dealerships. It's always has been a focus, but right now in particular, every little productivity, efficiency, and customer experience wins they can get are critical to making their businesses more profitable and retaining customers for the long term.
I want to talk to you about a solution called Repair Assistant that you're offering. But before I do, I want to
Mhm.
kind of set the stage, Pete. A few weeks back, I read a big story that the average price of a new vehicle in the United States for the first time is over $50,000. Hard to believe, okay? Yet it all kind of factors in when you look at the aging vehicles out there, the average age of a vehicle 12 going into 13 or more years. And it all kind of plays into the strengths of fixed operations and service and parts, would you say?
It does, Ted. The car park, we've seen the car park globally grow by at least 60% since 2015. Globally, there are 1.5 billion vehicles on the road. The age of those vehicles, as you say, is getting onwards of 12 to 13 years, which is incredible. And there are a couple of opportunities here for dealerships and OEMs. One is that those vehicles need more repairs, right? So we know that. But two, in terms of customer retention, the longer we retain those vehicles within the dealership network, those medium type and heavy type repairs then come into the picture, which means the price of those parts, the amount of parts we're selling, the amount of labor we're selling becomes a greater opportunity. And I think at the moment, a lot of those dealers in the market who haven't focused on after sales, who've been relying on those cushy margins in the showroom, now really pivoting to take parts and service more seriously. So we're seeing a lot more focus on after sales. So that's one trend. And then, as I said, these aging vehicles ultimately will need more expensive repairs. So that becomes an opportunity. And that's when really that technician theme of upskilling our techs becomes even more profound.
And I like what you're doing with AI. And you mentioned in the green room before we got started, AI is making such advancements so quickly. It seems every week there's a startling new development, and it's so far ahead of where it just was, and that continues. But that really will also play into the aging technician workforce, the lack of new technicians coming into the industry, and I see a lot of the things that you're doing at InfoMedia are really going to help strengthen the dealer body.
Yeah, absolutely. On the technician front, Ted, we're seeing a consistent theme. That theme is that those experienced folks are exiting the industry, and the young folks coming into the industry are taking longer to get their head around the requirements of that type of role. The variety of technology in the vehicles today is far greater than what it was back in the day. So, on a given day, tech could be servicing a hybrid vehicle. In the afternoon, they've got all the ICE engines, and guess what? There's a couple of EV vehicles that need to be looked at as well. So the complexity of what a technician today is looking at is far more intricate. And then the diagnosis takes a little bit more time, and they're going from a website portal to a repair manual to then another tech knowledge base that the OEM has set up, and the dealership have got their own, obviously, knowledge sources and experienced folks that contribute to that. And I guess what I'm saying is the information is fragmented, and those specialist databases around hybrid vehicles, EV, how do I get to that X sensor that is going to be critical to fixing this medium heavy repair? That's not easy on the shop floor when you've got 20, 30 repair orders going. You've got parts that are in back order. You've got customers waiting for their vehicles. You've got time pressures. So we believe AI is really critical in helping solve some of these efficiency and productivity issues at the dealerships for techs and service advisors.
Not to mention, you mentioned those repair orders. Those average repair orders, Peter, have really jumped in value. Okay, and the focus on the dollar amount higher than ever, with higher warranty rates, higher customer pay, and so on and so forth. I don't know if you want to speak to that as well.
Yeah, it's certainly a trend, and that goes to what we spoke about before regarding the aging car park. As the aging car park sort of starts to take shape, the repairs, the type of repairs, and the repair orders are definitely growing. So we've had obviously CPI increases over the last few years, and the industry has really felt that. The price of parts has gone up, and price of labour has gone up. But at a core level, those invoice values are bigger because the type of repairs we're doing, the type of services, the complexity of those parts, and those parts are more expensive because if you look at a hybrid vehicle, particularly even the ICE engines of today, much more electric, much more complexity, and those invoices, obviously those repair orders are starting to increase. So we feel that AI has a role to play along the value chain. We think the technicians, enabling them with tools that enable them to get to the diagnosis faster, communicate with the service manager and service advisor faster, or the parts department, and then get to the customer story faster. Often the customer, is waiting in the lounge, or they've taken a loan car for today. The idea is to get that customer story as soon as possible, that recommendation with the work, to get a favourable answer in terms of recommendation to repair the work, but also then meet the customer experience. A lot of that quarter time rule, particularly in North American markets, where I drop my vehicle off and within 15 minutes I get the diagnosis of what is wrong with my vehicle. That's what our solutions allow the dealers to do, which is get to that customer with a recommendation, with a fully priced quote, and pictures and videos and evidence of that repair, within 15 to 20 minutes.
Pete, and the customer expects all this, like you just said, with the pictures and the videos, and they expect it's going to be timely. I want to talk a little bit about one of the solutions you and I have discussed. It's called Repair Assistant, which seems to address a number of these things, including technicians, their onboarding, their training, and
Mm-hmm.
improvements in diagnostics and first-time fix rates. If you want to share a little bit about Repair Assistant with us.
Yeah. So the repair assistant is a solution. It's an AI solution. It
Okay.
leverages INFOMEDIA's data expertise, which really takes in all the structured and unstructured data from an OEM, like repair manuals, electrical wiring diagrams, owner manuals, vehicle specifications, warranty information. And what we do, we enable an AI layer to to surface up insights with a question and answer format. So a technician, rather than going through 20 pages of the wheel bearing section of the repair manual, can ask a question about the wheel bearing. They can get into an electrical wiring diagram and say, "Can you tell me the color of the headlamp earth wire? Is it blue or is it green? Where is the fuse located? Where is the oxygen sensor located?" So this
Oh,
question and answer type of format really utilizes the data we have. InfoMedia has a large amount of data. We've got over 1 billion VINs in our database, and then surfaces up the answers without the technician needing to go to 3, 4 different sources to find the repair procedure, the labor time, and then the ability to write up that technician's story using AI instead of going on the iPad or the PC, taking time to actually do that manually. So it's fascinating. What we're seeing is that the techs are being their skill sets are being leveled up instantly. The AI makes them into an expert technician. Um, we are seeing a faster workflow in
Yes.
the work bay, and then from a customer experience event, because that workflow is happening faster, the customer is getting those recommendations faster, they're more accurate, and then the service advisor is spending less time trying to coordinate between the tech and the parts department what parts are required, what the story should be for the customer, and what we're recommending. So efficiency gains, accuracy, and taking those technicians that are coming into that industry and really leveling them up to be experts using AI.
Pete, if I could add one more thing, you're keeping the technician in their bay. They don't
Exactly.
have to take steps and walk to another location to access uh, a computer, a diagram, a big volume book. They get to stay in their workspace and do this.
That's right.
That eliminates a lot of steps, the logistics involved. That's a big savings in time as well.
It is. It is, Ted. Every hour today is worth more than what it was this time last year. And those operating costs within dealerships, we've seen them grow. There is a real challenge now for fixed ops directors and service managers and parts managers to really get a grip on their workflows, understand and use technology to start measuring the processes. And we feel that tools with AI enablement, particularly in those technical areas of parts, service, and warranty, they're underinvested in our industry. You know, AI, and we see that today, very big in showroom, right? Lead generation and lead sources and booking appointments, which is great. But really, as an operational cost center, when we look at service, parts, warranty, that fixed ops sort of cost, we need to start enabling our technicians, our service advisors, and our parts folks with these tools to save the extra 4 or 5 minutes of each workflow. You do that for every RO, and you've got significant efficiency gains.
And as you mentioned, the value of that RO is so much greater than it was a year ago. And the front, the dealership showroom, the sexy part of the process, it's marginal in terms of, and it's variable, okay, in terms of what they can
Correct.
do. But here, this is the bread and butter of the dealership. So, Infomedia, Pete, with your products, you're making great strides in creating efficiencies in service parts. I'm excited about this repair assistant. I think it's going to do a lot. Okay, and you're going to get a lot of dealers adopting that early because that's addressing some of the basic needs that technicians need, and using advancements like AI and your entire suite. Not just on the service side, but I mentioned the parts earlier. You're dealing with logistics and again, making everything a lot easier for the dealer people.
Yeah, and that logistics topic, you know, Ted, is big in the context of parts and part supply chains. You know, when we think about a typical parts interpreter or a parts counterman in the US at a dealership, it's a sales job. You know, their role is to take those phone calls from customers. They could be internal, it could be the collision shops, it's mechanical shops, but they're on the hook to sell $24,000 worth of business every month. You know, that's their target, and every day they spent time on the phone. That's time wasted where they could be proactively selling. So our tools are really critical in that parts department, like our parts catalogs, our microcap parts catalog. We've introduced AI tools into that solution as well now, which is great, where we're getting those collision estimates and we're processing them within 3 seconds. All those parts are identified and ready for ordering. Every minute we save in that parts workflow in the parts department is critical. So, in terms of profitability, in terms of supply chain and value chain logistics, as you say, having the right part at the right time for that repair is critical. Otherwise, you're left with vehicles on in the shop that needs to be serviced. You got customers screaming, and then from a parts back order perspective, you got this inefficient process where you're constantly waiting for these parts to arrive to complete a customer repair, and that's not good for customer experience. So, look, today more than ever, digital digital workflows, not only at the customer end, but internally in that fixed ops area of parts, service, and warranty are critical. And we see that as a big opportunity at INFOMEDIA.
And one more thing, if I can add, you're enhancing the communication both internally at the dealership and back to the customer, who, as you said, is expecting in our society, we expect I can have it now. I want to know the status of my vehicle. I want to know that if they're working on the vehicle. I want to hear from the technician. You're helping with all of those things.
Yeah, absolutely. The sneaker power that we spoke about before, right? The
Yes.
technician walking to the parts department, pointing at those at the catalog illustrations to find a part. That doesn't have to happen today. So we really have those solutions where the tech, the advisor, the parts department can communicate to each other. We also have data driven workflows that allow the technician to have the smarts of the parts department in the palm of his hand with a tablet. They can look up a catalog from their work bay while they're doing the MPI process. Yeah, so that for us is where the synergies come in. I think the tech up until now has been very siloed. The parts department have had their catalogs. The service department have had their service quoting, inspection, booking systems. The warranty folks are doing their warranty processes separately. But we feel there's an opportunity now using AI to bring all that together a little bit more. So every person in that dealership, regardless of who answers that call with a customer, can answer in the same manner. So a consistent customer experience. I often quote the concept of calling a dealership and asking for a tow bar for my, Land Rover or my Toyota Prado. If you call the parts department would give you a quote for a tow bar. If you call the service department will tell you, well, we can fit it, but you have to call the parts department. I have to get back to you, and I don't have a whole price. With our data, both the service and parts department can quote a customer for a tow bar within 3 seconds. So that data sharing between the departments is critical for that efficiency and the customer experience to really take shape. So that's really what INFOMEDIA does. Our legacy is parts. We started in parts with our microcat catalog. We then released Super Service with our quoting systems and MPI booking system. And now we're sort of going into that AI era, bringing parts and service together to give the right information to the right person at the right time when we're saving time. So it's not about, productivity and efficiency is definitely there. We're saving time. But the throughput in terms of what the customer sees is so much faster, so much more accurate, and less technical. Customers don't like technical jargon.
Right.
So, using AI to convert that technical story from a, for replacing a wheel bearing into something that's customer centric is really critical. And we're paying a lot of attention to using AI to make sure that customer communication is customer centric and they understand the value of genuine servicing. Yeah. So that's really the critical outcome of joining those separate processes within the dealership and having common data flows from parts to service to warranty to ensure that the customer gets a consistent message.
Pete, you and I have been in the industry a long time. This may be the most exciting time ever to be in the retail automotive industry with all these innovations, the AI that's happening, how that's going to impact the dealership, the customer, the logistics, the workflows, VIN specific solutions. And with InfoMedia's background, as you mentioned, that rich history on the parts side, as an example, there's nobody better to do this than InfoMedia.
Yeah, look, Ted, we sometimes internally look at our parts catalog and we go, yeah, look, that's great, and it's a steady solution for the parts department. But what it does do is it gives us the intel, the knowledge, and the intelligence required at a VIN level to make sure that those service workflows and the warranty workflows and those accessory offers in the showroom can happen in an accurate manner, and that's really critical. So, we are an OEM shop. We don't do a lot in the aftermarket space. We pride ourselves as helping OEMs and their dealerships win against the aftermarket. That's really our mantra. Our solutions, they're all data driven. Our purpose every day is to sell more OEM parts and help the dealers sell more labor. And if we can do that using technology, particularly now with AI, we're both winning.
Pete, I know you have some exciting things ahead in 2026 coming up. For our audience watching today, who want to get on board, learn more about the things that InfoMedia is working on and has available today, how can our audience reach out to you and learn more about Repair Assistant, Simple Part, a lot of the solutions we're discussing here?
Yeah. Look, get in touch on our website, infomedia.com.au, or directly with me. But we are launching at NADA, TED, some exciting new solutions, right? So we've got some great launches coming up at NADA. Folks can come and experience our Microcat AI solution. So that's very new, very revolutionary for our industry, where we've inserted AI capability into our parts catalog. First in the industry.
Wow.
So we're excited to showcase Microcat AI at NADA 2026, and then we'll also be releasing our Intelligam Repair Assistant in the USA market. We'll be launching that at NADA also. So really looking forward to some great activity at NADA 2026 in Vegas. But in the meantime, our website has all the information, and certainly folks can get in touch with me directly, and we're happy to have that conversation. Very excited.
It is, Pete. Pete, on behalf of the Fixed Ops Roundtable, thank you so much, and congratulations to you. And looking forward to the next innovations that are going to be announced, and all the success you're having at InfoMedia.
Thank you, Ted. It's been a pleasure, and look forward to meeting you in person very soon.
Yep. Will do. All right, everybody. Pete Petrovski is the Chief Strategy Officer at InfoMedia. You can reach out to him. You see the website scrolling at the bottom of the screen. His email is there as well, and they are the leader in a lot of these solutions you're hearing about now, AI-driven parts, service, and retail-driven. Pete Petrovski, everybody, from InfoMedia, here with us
Thank
today
you,
at the
Ted.
Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Thank you.